Today, we're going to recap some of the Tanium announcements from our 2023 Converge Annual User Conference. Welcome back to Tanium Tech Talks. I'm your host, Ashley McGlone. Wow, what a week. I'm just now getting a chance to sit down and record something for you about what we did at Converge. You've heard me talk about Converge almost for the last year, it seems like. Every episode say, hey, you want to check this out? I'm going to tell you why you wanted to be there today and give you some clues about what to check out in the on-demand streaming content. But before we get too far along, I wanted to invite on to the show today Doug Thompson. You got to meet him recently from one of the Microsoft labs that he was doing at Converge. So, Doug, for those who haven't met you yet, tell them who you are.
So, yeah, thanks, Ashley. So I'm a Texan. I have to sort of counterweight everything else. But Doug Thompson, been at Tanium, will be 3 years in January. The whole Microsoft thing, I spent 20 years at Microsoft before that. But I also host some of the episodes of the Tanium podcast. I do a whole. I was an MC. We can talk about that, the public sector track. So,
well, man, I tell you what. So first, for those of you who are watching, this is like Tanium Unscripted. All right, Tech Talks Unscripted. Yes. Doug and I, we just kind of spitballed a couple notes here that we want to talk about. Make sure we highlight some key things that happened at Converge. And Doug, you mentioned the public sector track, right? I didn't see any of that. Right? There's a partner summit. There's an executive summit. There's all these other things going on around. And I can remember when Converge was, less than 1,000 people and you could see everybody and see everything. And you just, the last few years, you've not been able to do that. It just keeps getting bigger.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. The common thing that came up this year is those people that were at Converge last year, this is way different. They just can't take everything in. There's so much opportunity and stuff. And it's sort of funny. We were in the same place, but just the vibe and everything else was just fantastic that was going on.
Yeah, we're growing up as a company. And so I remember back in the day, 6 years ago, when I came in, you could go to one of these events and see everybody you wanted to see. And that's just not possible these days, even knowing that there were coworkers there I totally didn't run into, or customers for that.
I think we only saw each other like twice. They went on, and I didn't see Joe at all. I was like, how did I miss these people?
Yeah, for both of us. I mean, we wanted to do this video in the expo area in front of the Tanium booth, and there was just so much going on, we didn't even get a chance to connect. So what we want to do for you today on this show is just briefly give you some things to look out for. So as you're probably familiar in previous years, converge.tanium.com, where you go to sign up for Tanium Converge. Now you can go to that same address, and there you'll be able to stream the keynotes, the big product announcements, the breakout sessions from customers like you who are speaking there. You'll be able to stream those. And so Doug and I want to kind of give you a cheat sheet to figure out, okay, there's all these videos out there. I'm not going to have time to watch all this stuff. So what should I kind of prioritize? So Doug, I'm curious for you, what was your take on the main stage, kind of the non-technical keynote stuff?
Well, I'm glad we got to use those big three humongous screens that we had going on with the red, going the whole vibe. That stuff got even better than last year. So you couldn't help but sort of be just energized by what went on. But, Steve did a great job sort of framing things, the discussion. I mean, the core message about was, trying to get things to simplify life. Like, we got so many things going on all at one time. It makes things really hard to sort of do. But how do you sort of simplify your life, make use of all the tools and stuff that you have, but more importantly, reduce the complexity in your environment. And that was just a really great theme, I thought.
Yeah, the theme is Converge, right? It's the name of the conference, and you think about it, from complexity to simplicity. We've added so much to our environment, and from a technology standpoint, and then all the tooling around that, it just grows and grows and grows. And every now and then you've got to go back and trim some of that so it's still manageable. So looking at all that complexity, simplifying it on the Tanium platform. I tell you, for me, Steve D, our marketing CMO, Chief Marketing Officer, I actually got to meet him in person there, and I said, man, You think of marketing people like, statistics and numbers and stuff, but he's quoting Latin philosophers, samurais,
and his dad, the CIO, and his dad, the CIO too.
Yeah, some great wisdom coming out of the, he's quoting and Biggie Smalls, right? Big hip hop fan. So he's quoting all these interesting people, but I told him, for me, it literally hit me in the heart. It was this video they played from the International Justice Mission. And it was a reminder of, why we do what we do at Tanium, trying to help customers. Is, they told the story of this, it's a nonprofit that helps people who are in a really bad spot in life right now. International justice, you can imagine what that involves. So there was a situation where they had a laptop stolen, and literally, some unthinking thief has stolen this laptop, but on that laptop are court documents that's literally going to change someone's life for the better. And if, this laptop was the key, because they hadn't submitted all the documents to the court yet. And I heard some after the fact, after they played that video, somebody said they were literally walking into the courtroom as the IT guys using Tanium were transferring files to them off of this stolen laptop. I mean, we're talking like timing was amazing here.
Yeah.
But they were using Tanium in the field for this, to solve world peace kind of thing. It's like this really amazing use case where some of you are familiar with the capabilities, right? The ability to retrieve files, to lock that laptop that's been stolen, not to wipe it quite yet, to get the files off of it that were critical to what they were doing. And when I heard that, it literally, Doug, you and I have been around IT conferences for years. I've never gotten choked up at an IT conference until this video. It was really powerful.
When you highlight people that aren't high visibility, aren't these other things, but their life, like with this type of thing, could have been a lot worse off. We were able to do something really cool because of the architecture, because of the technology that we were uniquely positioned to be able to go do for them, and just you lose sight of that. We're too busy worrying about patching or these other things to really sort of take, how does this impact somebody's life down at that level?
Well, there's so much we want to talk about. Dan Streetman, our CEO, it was the first time for a lot of people to get to see him on stage, new to Tanium this year, doing a fantastic job. And he was wearing one of these t-shirts like this. I noticed afterwards in the lobby, and the dude's just ripped. He's ex-military. He's a really neat guy.
He's done several Ironman triathlons. And here's a little history note. So when he came on, I had some friends that connected with him on LinkedIn. I used to be friends with at Microsoft. And he came on, and I know they were connected with him, and they went to West Point. And I said, "What can you tell me about him?" And they said, "Look, he's a stand-up guy." On a little bit of trivia, he held the push-up record for cadets for like 10 years. The amount of push-ups, it was like 140 something in 2 minutes. So,
the guy's, his triceps, when you see him from the back, his triceps are like unnatural, like they're massive.
Yeah.
Massive. The guy's ripped. So he's our CEO now, and we're happy to have Dan here. And so he talked about the power of among other things, right? But talking about platform partnerships. And we've been talking about on this show, right, the Microsoft partnerships, the ServiceNow partnerships, and there's plenty to talk about that we'll get to. But one of the things that was interesting for me to hear was our speaker from ServiceNow. She's an executive, and I apologize, I don't have her name off the top of my head, but you can see it on the agenda when you go to converge.tanium.com. But she said that Tanium was one of 3 strategic partners for ServiceNow for the year. And that just blew me away. I mean, you think about a company as big as ServiceNow, and we've been doing so much integration with them to really provide that real-time data source that powers their workflow platform.
Yeah, you think about what they do well. And again, it's that sort of workflow stuff on the other end of it, be it ITAM or whatever. But they need good data. They need to get instant access to stuff and real-time things that we can provide to them. And so that really helps automate that workflow of, hey, look, let's use this as an example. I lost my laptop. I've got a service ticket in. Service ticket automates some of this back end stuff to go ahead and take care of things. And then when it's done, it goes ahead and closes it and comes back. So Tanium's doing the work behind the scenes. You're simply doing a lot of the automation and stuff, using the power of what ServiceNow really does well, on that side of it. So it's a great partnership.
Yeah. And then, of course, the AI topic, once we get into the AI topic, there was a lot of that teasing on day one, and then we saw some more on day two. But I keep saying day one and day two. Remember, there's day zero, right?
Yeah.
Which is the first day with CTF
Let's do this.
Labs.
I got in this cardinally and ordinally numbered thing. If you go back to hard drives and partitions,
yeah,
I go way back with that.
It should say keynotes day one and day two, right? So the announcements, because everybody's saying, okay, every other vendor in the world has an AI thing, and what's going to be Tanium's AI thing? And for me, because we're kind of talking about Microsoft Copilot here for security. That's kind of where we're bridging into the power of and here that Dan was talking about. And so you think about these large language models, LLMs, that drive AI. And as I was just sitting there as an attendee, taking this all in, hearing this, again, some of this stuff as employees, we hear for the first time. It was my brain was exploding with all the possibilities. You think about how over the maturity ramp, so which way is it going? Which way? Anyway, the ramping maturity over time of Tanium, this platform that's got modules now, things, common capabilities across those modules. Now this data pump for AI, and AI eats data for breakfast. So the capabilities that are coming there, and they did this demo with Microsoft Copilot, which is basically your chat GPT text interface, and saying, hey, show me all the endpoints that are vulnerable to this CVE. And it pulls that data out of Tanium. And like, wow.
Well, yeah, you think about, that's the challenge with AI is it's only good as two things. One, the algorithm they're using to do that, and two, the model they're training it on. We're able to provide that high fidelity data, real time, up to date data. It's not like, if Chat GPT today, you're looking at data that's at least 2 years old. That's as fresh as they have it. We're giving you stuff that's, seconds to minutes old. So you really get this high fidelity data, again, with the CVE, where time is money, time is of the essence. How can I do all that? So, I always talked about, Tanium was sort of doing some AI, but it wasn't, simply because of the data and the way that we can work to do that. But now you've got these models, and then integrating that, going back to the partnership, integrating that with Defender, who's giving us signals come in. You just think about all the signals and stuff that Microsoft sees in a day. I forget how many trillions and trillions of signals they were talking about seeing. You want to learn about security, run Xbox Live for a day, but there's a lot of stuff that they have. Now you tie these together, getting that intelligence, and then being able to see real time, what's my exposure and what do I need to do? That's just powerful.
Yeah. And what blew my mind was thinking, as I was hearing Matt Quinn, who's our new CTO, he was talking about literally things that are 3 steps ahead. It's really amazing. If we can pull this off as a company, this is going to be amazing. I say if we can pull it off because, we announced some visionary things here, like what we're aiming to do in the next year, 2, 3, really for this vision. It's going to be amazing. But what really got my attention when he said, okay, you're thinking about your own instance of Tanium. What if you expand that across all the instances of Tanium in the world? Right. With this aggregated data that's not going to give away anything that's yours, right? But just aggregated data that could say, for change control was one of the examples he used as, hey, we're going to go apply these Microsoft patches. Well, 90% of Tanium's customer base has already applied these patches with no issue. Right. And so you tell that to your change control board. It's like, oh, okay. And then for the smaller shops who don't have the staffing of large enterprises, they could actually watch like the administrative actions being taken, and kind of, again, as abstracted large language model, you don't know what any specific customer's doing, but you can say, all right, customers have scheduled these patches for deployment. Do you want to do that in your environment as well? And you hit yes. And it's like, wow, and talk about this autonomous endpoint management. That was the key, right? And so if you think about an autonomous vehicle, do you want to ride around in an autonomous vehicle that's using data from last week?
No, I don't. They park often enough down here in the middle of Austin. But yeah, you think about the automation. You talked about sort of time and can we execute on this in 3 years? If we're still doing things like we've always done it, patching it, all these very manual things, we don't have time to do that. And there's not enough talent or time or money to go do these other things, where if you can get this automation, but like I said, let's do this slowly. Let's give you visibility into what this is first. Here's what you got. Then the next thing, okay, we can sort of take baby steps and automate some of these other things. And, till you get to where you get this fully autonomous thing over a period of years, because it takes, culture's got to change in that time frame too, to sort of adopt to that. And culture always takes a little bit longer than actually technology does to change.
Yeah. And boy, I'm watching the clock go by really fast here. There's so much else we want to talk about. And, so we're talking to an administrative audience, right? Administrators watch this show. And I was thinking, as like the Gartner analyst, and if Gartner, if you're watching, there's props to you guys for this, but as a technologist, as a guy who's hands on keyboard, I'm thinking, okay, it's some boring analyst conversation, right? Should I just skip this? But no, like it was really good. And I really want to pay compliments to Gartner, because their main stage analysis of like what it looks like for a maturity model in IT, digital workplace maturity model. And it talks about these 5 stages that really made a lot of sense. And it gave me like this meta view of, okay, why is it we're doing, as we're working away hands on keyboard, right? Or clicking on the mouse in the Tanium console, what's the context around what we're trying to accomplish? And how does that relate to the maturity of our business? That really impacts my quality of life as an IT engineer. And the progression of that, it really made good sense. So as you're looking for sessions to go stream on demand from the Converge site, announcements from day 2, you want to check out some of these sessions, like Gartner and so forth. So the day 1, day 2 keynotes is like one big stream. You can kind of jump around in that stream, but there's so much.
I take it an hour at a time, digest it. It's over a period of a week. You got it all done. Take in a little bit and go on from that. But, to your point, it gives you a roadmap, this maturity modeling actually gives you sort of a roadmap of how you can get to that nirvana of this autonomous management.
Then day 2, which I know what most people are really after, is, okay, tell me what's coming, right?
Yeah.
And we announced so much on that day. Probably the first out of the gate, automate, which is this kind of meta layer of tying Tanium modules together to do coordinated actions across modules, which people have asked us for that for years. And it's amazing to see the platform get to that place now where, the common example we've always talked about is cluster patching, right?
Yeah.
So I need to take down different cluster members and make sure services are stopped and started in the right order.
Take a snapshot. Yeah.
That kind of stuff. So, and so much more that's capable with Automate.
Exactly. And again, getting to that part where I'm not doing all these manual tasks that take time or I forget about, or, very important. They're just very complex. How do we take advantage of this repetition, get this to where it's automated? That was such a great thing. But to get to the autonomous management, that's one of the very first layers you're going to have to sort of take advantage of.
Then a couple of things that we kind of revisited that weren't exactly 100% new announcements, but have new capabilities, Gateway, we used to call it the API gateway. Now they just call it gateway, right? So that enables partners and other products that you use to tie into Tanium to get that data that you're working on in Tanium. And so there's more coming there, GraphQL and all that. So that's continuing to be invested in. And then cloud workloads, which is what they're now calling our container offering. So getting back into the cloud container management as well.
Yeah, and they sort of making our cloud first, so the Tanium cloud, even more robust from what it does, and sort of overcoming some of those limitations or challenges you had going from a cloud to an on-premise, the way that it worked, really sort of building that into where it's a cloud first mentality to go on. This is the way we're going to do things and make things work. Because most of I'd say 90% of the discussions I have, and customers adopt our cloud.
Speaking of cloud, as we're evolving that story and maturing our cloud offering, this next one was really positive. Endpoint change management. The way Tanium does releases in our cloud environment is we have rings, ring 1, 2, 3, however you want to name them, basically getting out the new code to our customers, to you all. And imagine the ability to do that for yourself. So when Tanium finally says general availability, GA is what we call it when we release code, then particularly thinking about like module tooling that's going down to the endpoints, that's fresh bits, and the ability for you to create your own deployment rings, and thinking about your mission critical machines that you want to kind of save to the end once you know everything's safe, right? It's been tested with lots of other companies as well, but then when you get it, what do you want to do with it? So you can build your own deployment rings. And especially for me, like I do a lot of work in manufacturing, which is, that's a great idea. So now for the manufacturing endpoints that are, mission critical, you can think about any other mission critical use case as well, right? We can stagger those tools across the environment to computer groups that we assign so that we're careful in the deployment of those tools.
Yeah, just give you a little bit more granular control of what's happening from the cloud. That's always sort of a challenge in doing that with any cloud company. So how do we give you a little bit more granular control of what that's going to look like?
And then Guardian, we've had, this is another one of those things we've had for a while now with the feed, right? Tanium feed, that little notification bell in the corner. Yeah. And you've got those announcements in there. Hey, the CVE's here. Here, click on for this community post, right? But taking that to the next level where, hey, we've already got a report of what's vulnerable in your environment. Would you like to just give that straight to your boss right now instead of having to go create the report, import something, whatever? Just, hey, here it is, ready to go for you. So Guardian is what they're calling that now.
Yeah. And we used to put those steps in community and stuff, and you could manually, we gave you all the information, but it would take you some interaction and stuff to do that. So now we're saying, hey, look, instead of doing that, why not let's take advantage of this and put it in here and just help yourself. Yeah.
And again, so many announcements. Tanium real time for Microsoft Sentinel. I mean, we've been doing this in preview already with some customers, so that Sentinel now has real time data coming from Tanium and ability to take action in real time on those endpoints. You've seen some of those demos on the Tech Docs channel here. But
it was near real time before. Now we're closing that gap even more because, again, if you've got a security incident, minutes make a lot of difference.
Yeah. Well, as we wind down here on our recap, there are too many breakout sessions to mention. Yeah. There are just too many. I got to participate in one with a customer around manufacturing that went really well. So I would encourage you just to go out there, look for something that's interesting to you, what module you're using, what use cases you have. Go out there to the on-demand and listen to some of these customer breakout sessions, because they're people just like you using Tanium, and you can see how they did what you're trying to accomplish with Tanium.
Yeah, and there's a lot of Microsoft and ServiceNow sessions of those things. So, go get a glimpse of people that may be a step ahead of you.
And there's even breakouts with some of our product managers as well to see what's coming and what's on their mind, and roadmap type conversations that you don't want to miss as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've got I've held one announcement here for the very end.
Go ahead, I'll hold the big one back.
Now we have the Tanium Resource Center, which is help.tanium.com. So all along on this show, I've told you docs.tanium.com, kb.tanium.com, and community.tanium.com. Now you can search all that in one place. You can open your tickets there. And really the reason that we want you to go to help.tanium.com first to open a ticket is so that when you're opening a ticket, it will automatically search through Tanium content that may answer your question before you have to open a ticket.
Are you using a little AI there or something, Ashley? I mean,
Yeah, I think there's going to be more coming in that department. Yeah,
exactly.
So yeah, go to help.tanium.com and check that out. And Doug and I and several of us have been having this conversation. It's really just ramping up, and you're going to be able to get more and more content as time goes by. Check out the little video that I did with Jasper Liao. Here we're in the playlist where you found this video where we talk about the Tanium Resource Center announcement, and you can get some more information there. We talked about converge.tanium.com, where you can get all the on the demand for the keynotes and the breakouts. And then finally, in this playlist here on the Tanium YouTube channel, we don't have time today to talk about it because there's already a bunch of videos on the capture the flag. Yeah. You'll see that really shortly. If it's not already out, you can look for that.
That's a scary group of people, what they can do and finding those things.
Goodness. It is crazy.
Yeah.
And these scenarios that he came up with that just read like a blockbuster movie.
Yeah.
I said in the video, I said blockbuster novel. I don't think that there's such a thing as a blockbuster novel, but you know what I mean,
well,
right?
War and Peace used to be that, but yeah, now it's all video or movie or nothing. But they're great stories, and they're not that far fetched, but they are sort of out there.
Yeah, so check out those videos. The labs, I did some more lab interviews this year. I did a certification.
You didn't come by and see me in my lab, but anyway, that's okay.
Hey, you
we
got
talked
the
about it earlier.
Video.
That's right.
You got the you got the preview.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
You talk about a lot's been going on. We talk about Converge a lot. That's because we started this back out in like February, starting to plan for these things and getting promoting the labs, getting it done, going through this other stuff. This is my second year of labs and stuff, and there's a lot of work that gets put into that. So yeah, we do have a long runway, and like I said, planning for the next Converge started the day after this one. So we'll be talking about it some more as we're coming on. And I did get my certification, Ash. I did 6:15 Thursday morning. I was out there getting my certification again this year.
Wow. Which is another good chance to promote it for people. If you can get the Converge in person, you can get those certification exams at a discount. There's a update video with Stephanie Coburn, our VP of Enablement. You get to see what's the latest and what certifications and exams and training are available. Watch that video here on the channel. Also, I've still got to edit these, but they're coming soon. I've got a sampling of our partner innovators of Tanium, our partners who are hot shots with Tanium, doing a great job helping when you need that extra hand to help you take Tanium to the next level. These are the people that you want to call to engage them for services and the content that they offer around partner innovators of Tanium, the Tanium Pit crew. So look for those videos to come out here in the next week or two, also on the playlist.
I always, that's one thing I said, if you're going to invest in anything, invest in these people that use Tanium all the time. That can help you kickstart and jumpstart what you have. Let's not reinvent the wheel here. These guys have done a great job of using Tanium. They know all the best practices, all these other things. They can really help kickstart and getting more value out of your investment.
Finally.
We won't be in Texas next year, Ashley. I'm sorry.
We won't be in Texas. We did Texas 2 years of barbecue. That was a good run. Yeah.
There we go.
So next year is going to be Orlando, Florida. We keep telling you, you don't want to miss it. All right. You really don't want to miss being in Orlando, Florida next year, the week before U.S. Thanksgiving, right? So put that on your calendar now and go watch some of these keynotes with the big product announcements, the breakouts. Find what's valuable to you and then share it with somebody else too. Drop a note on social media. Say, hey, this was really helpful for me, right?
I think that's something that'd be cool for Converge next year. You got an idea? Let us know.
Yeah. It's like, do we listen to our customers? Do we take ideas from customers?
No, I don't know. I sometimes I open up the console and say, oh, this is new. We must have listened to a customer again. So
yeah. All right. Well, Doug, thanks for joining me on the show today. This has been fun because normally we're doing demos and we're in the console, but we just want to give people a chance to say, hey, okay, Converge was really amazing this year. And I know somebody's going to watch this and say, well, you didn't talk about my thing. There's too many things to talk about. All right. So these are some things you want to just go check out. And so sign up at converge.tanium.com. Keep an eye on that. We usually open that registration somewhere around August, September. So keep an eye on that coming up. It's going to be Orlando. Go to converge.tanium.com. Stream those sessions on demand. And until next time, go Tanium.